And I think we are live. Let me refresh the YouTube page here to see if we are. Not yet, not yet.
I think we're running, guys.
Yeah, it says it anyway.
Yep, we're up and running, I think.
Yeah,
We
there's
can't
an
have any
ad
dead
running.
air. I've
There's
already
an
got the
ad running
link.
on YouTube when I refreshed it. Just wait for it to end. And another ad. What is this thing on YouTube?
Oh
Three
my
watching
god.
now. So we are live. We are live. I just didn't load on YouTube yet, but we are live. But let's go for it. Welcome everyone. Glad to have you on board. Glad to have the 3 people watching, 5 people watching. So it's slightly increasing. My name is Khaled. I am a Manchester United fan based here in Ireland. Happy to start this Tricolor Reds today. We'll be speaking for the next 25 to 30 minutes with the Reds in Ireland from Cork to Kerry to Dundalk.
County
If I'm not
Loud.
mistaken. Yeah,
That's all right.
that's the spirit.
That's all
So welcome to the Reds in Ireland. We'll be discussing today in this episode. It's something I'm starting with the lads, starting from the fans and going backwards with this is the mission, 3 values, respect, empathy, inclusion, to promote it here and speak about the Irish Reds who travel to Manchester, share our experiences and discuss the club. And I'm happy to be joined today with Dara, Deck, Nigel. I'll give you a few minutes to quickly present yourselves and then dive into our topics today. Deck, I'll start with you. You're the captain.
No worries, Kelly. Thanks very much. Well, I've been traveling over from Ireland since 1983. That's when I was brought to my first game. Back then, it was sail and rail was the only way we could get to Manchester. A nice bumpy boat ride for three hours, then a lovely train ride up to Piccadilly and on for the game. Thankfully, started flying the last few years, so it's a bit easier to get over to games. So love going over. The year before last was the most games I got in the season. I got over to 10 games that season. I did 6 last season. I've yet to get over this season, but looking forward to getting back to Manchester, meeting up with the lads in the Blaze and meeting up with fellow fans from all over the place.
Amazing. I know a game you're going to this season.
Yes, definitely Brentford.
Brentford.
I'll be taking your place that day, so I'll be cheering the Reds on from your seat.
My pleasure. Nigel, up to you, my friend.
Hi all, how's things? Yeah, a similar story to Dak, but I sort of from the early 90s was going over because don't say too much, but Dak has a few more years on me, so so that's my first cheap crack at the captain. I'm probably benched after this. But yeah, no, same. But it started off again, bus on the boat and stuff like that, and again last few years, flying over and lucky enough to go with Dak some matches and things like that. The one thing I do want to say about this is I am looking forward to trying to create more of an Irish-based community for Manchester United fans, and I know Khalid definitely has big ambitions for what this page and what this hopeful podcast could bring in the future. But so yeah, I'm just glad to be on board, and I hope you enjoy whatever comes next out of this. So thanks very much.
Amazing. What comes next is from Cork, from where Kino comes, but we have another legend in Cork who is Dara.
Thanks very much, Khaled. As you can clearly tell, I am the baby of the group. My first game was unfortunately the Champions League game of Man United versus Porto in 2004. We all know what happened in that game, lads. But talk about cheap shots at the captain. If I was to take shots at Deck now, this would turn into Side Pad 2002. Keep it right, Keenan. But no, look, at the end of the day, I'm starting to slowly become a content creator like Khalid. I just kind of take my experiences going to football games, such as the game up in the Aviva Stadium, and followed the week after with the game against Wolves. Just trying to build my content off that and slowly make my way to making more face-to-face content then as a result by bringing the United group together, and hopefully this is the start of it.
Great, and I'll go quickly. You said you're the baby in the group. I don't know. Maybe we should check this offline. Who's younger than the other? But maybe I don't know. Let's see. But in terms of probably attending games, I am the baby. So I grew up in Tunisia. I'm a United fan since when the treble happened. I was 11. So just to give you an idea about my age, and it was the first memory at United. So I'm 35, Nigel. I think you're calculating it. You're just trying. And
I just look confused most of the time, so don't worry about it.
don't worry. So I grew up watching Manchester United only behind TV. I moved to Ireland in 2019. I feel Irish, although I don't drink Guinness or I don't drink any alcohol, but I feel I belong here. I'm getting more into the Irish culture. My kids are Irish. I'm father of two, and I have my season ticket for the second season now, and I sit in Manchester Suite and to kind of I know this feeling of being watching only behind TV. That's why I started the whole thing and giving tickets for free for people who follow me or subscribe to my channel because I know what it means to watch United only behind screen. I did it my whole life, and I've been attending games since only 2 seasons. And my first game was against Villa. We lost 1-0, and that's where the first time the goalkeeper did his famous dance, the Argentinian goalkeeper. And the second game ended up losing 5-0 to Liverpool in Old Trafford. And then the third game I went, the guys who took me, an Irish lad who was bringing me as his guest, I didn't have a season ticket. It was against Spurs. And he said, if we lose today, no more United for you. That's it. We ended up winning 3-2 with that hat-trick from Cristiano. And it was amazing to see. I lived that moment, and it was great to witness. But let's jump into it. I think no more intros. I think the biggest event of the week, the statement about Mason Greenwood, the updates, what's happening, the output, and I want to get feedbacks on the table. Let's make a turn. And Dara, I'll start with you because I've seen you created content on it. You shared your feedback. Obviously, there are people who don't like our views, our feedbacks, but let's share from your side. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the decision, and how you feel about it?
Be honest, I'll try and keep it short and sweet, but basically, I just found that, in my personal opinion, it was the eventual right decision for the club. I mean, we've had enough between the takeover and everything hanging over us over the last number of years. So for this to finally be, I won't say swept under the rug, but finally passed on and had an eventual decision made on it, I'm thankful of the decision that's been made. It should have been made, or whether the decision went one way or the other, I think it should have just happened a long time ago. At the end of the day, I understand that once the charges were dropped at the end of it all, that they had to conduct their own investigation. Should it have taken 6 months to do such an investigation? I'm not so sure. Of course, we saw this. There was different news articles about how there was such a plan to bring Mason Greenwood back into the club and how they were going to do it. And I don't think it should, at the end of the day, the four of you guys know my personal opinion on this, but at the end of the day, I don't think it should have taken the fans to influence that decision. Whether they went one way or the other, it shouldn't have taken the fans with such backlash to make that decision of a U-turn, basically, because it came across that they were going one way, and then it came, as we know that he's now leaving the club. So while I'm happy with the decision, it should have been done a lot differently, in my opinion.
Correct. I would agree, and to interfere between I listen to the guys' feedbacks. I think the way we managed that as a club, or they managed that as a club, I mean the direction, everything, it was a little bit poor. It took a lot of time and should have been more independent. Probably it's a big topic, probably first of its kind in the modern football. If it happened in the football where deck you can share insights from the seasons of '83 onwards and how the world would have dealt with it differently at that time. But I believe it was managed poorly, but I still believe it's the right decision to make. I still believe there's no future for Greenwood in the club for multiple reasons. Do not go into details, but he's one of us. Wish him the best as a football player. I mean, he's a fantastic football player. I watched him live in Old Trafford. Very fast, straight, left foot, right foot. He's amazing. But unfortunately, now it's the end, and hopefully he finds the better for him and for his family now in the future. And we wish him the best. And I'm curious now who will wear that number 11 in the future after Giggs and Greenwood and everything. Maybe it's a jinx, maybe not with everything personal that happened with Giggs and Greenwood, but let's see. I believe it divided the fans, but it's the right thing to do. We wish him the best. And Dek, I'll go to you to share your feedback and what do you think about the decision, and especially from the old football to modern football, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think it was the only decision that could have been made. I don't think he could have come back into our club without bringing a lot of negativity to it. And unfortunately, at the moment, there's a lot of negativity around our club as it is. I'm not happy with the way the club has been run at the moment. Everything seems to take a lot longer than it did. I mean, I remember when Fergie was there, David Gill was there. They wanted someone, they went, they did it, got their business done. It wasn't talked about in the papers. Everything that seems to happen now is dragged on. And the Greenwood decision could have happened a lot sooner. I mean, anyone would know that it was going to be near impossible for him to come back to a club and have a successful career. When you're at Manchester United, you're under the spotlight more than any other club. So to have that negative influence surrounding him, I mean, he would have been slaughtered by away fans at away grounds, and it would have impacted our team, our club. So I think the best decision was taken. But agree with you, just took a bit too long.
Agree. I remember even in Wembley there was some chants at the Carabao Cup final, and people were trying to silence others. She said no Mendy. She said no Mendy. I was just thinking about it. If that happens later on, you're sitting in Old Trafford and the away end are singing the same about Greenwood. But it's the right decision. And Nigel, what would you feel about it? And would you?
Yeah, no, it's hard to disagree with any of the points there that any of the lads have made. It's at the end of the day, like Dak said, Manchester United's probably one of the biggest clubs in the world, and the eyes of the world, I think, of football and outside football was watching to see what this outcome would be. But there was, me personally, there was no way back for him. And it is the right decision to move him on. But even like the way the statement from Richard Arnold was worded, even like it's not actually definitive what exactly is even happening in terms of are they firing him or are they going to try and sell him, because at the end of the day I definitely can't see him staying in the Premiership because he's just such a damaged soul now. I think it'll have to be not even maybe in Europe. But again, whatever happens, I do wish him the best because he was a good footballer and stuff. But we cannot have those type of situations around our club. And like again, as Dex said, that we have a lot of other issues currently at the minute, and our plates were pretty stacked up there for a while. So hopefully now we can move on and start putting this in the past and try and look at the next challenges. That's rebuilding the team and rebuilding, and again, another shaky start to the season, and try and get back on track this weekend against Notts Forest.
That's the perfect link I was looking for, Nigel. So to go back on track against Forest, we had a poor performance last week against Spurs, and I think poor is a nice word to describe it. And we've seen all Roy Keane, what he said, and I really loved what he said about what happened. Toothless Man United and a lot of things. How would you like to see that change this weekend, guys? What would you change in the starting 11? What would you change in the play? What are your thoughts on it? And Nigel, I'll start with you as you opened up on the Forest game.
I believe, there's definitely no doubt about it. We have a very talented pool of footballers. There's no doubt about that. But confidence just seems to be on the floor at the minute. I think personally we had a bit of a wasted pre-season out in America, and probably played games that they didn't need to play for high profile, like against Wrexham, where they played a team that was probably even with less stars than came over to the Aviva a few weeks ago. And then bad result against Borussia Dortmund, bad result against Real Madrid. Like, you use your pre-season to set yourself up, and like against Lons in the final pre-season game in Old Trafford before the Dublin game, like Ten Hag claimed that his players didn't have match fitness and was limited to only 2 subs in that match based on trying to get match minutes into lads. And you could see that straight away in the opening game against Wolves. They were just steamrolled. They just couldn't stand up to Wolves at all. And I think none of the boys here or any whoever's viewing this will agree that we deserved probably to pick up anything of that, let alone 3 points. And where a normal good pitch for us to go, Tottenham Hotspur would traditionally have decent results against Spurs. Okay, we can get back on track there, and it was just more of the same. I do think there again.
We lost Nigel, it seems.
We lost Nigel. He forgot to pay his bill.
No, someone was trying. Someone was trying to ring me. Apologies about that. They don't know I'm trying to become an internet star for the right reasons.
No
but
worries.
but no, I think in terms of the team, we're limited with changes, I believe, again, because I don't think Ten Hag has got to bring in some of the faces that he wants to bring in. And again, to touch on something that Dak said, that in the past, United identify a player and then that'd be just that. The next thing, there's a press conference and they're into Old Trafford. And now everything is just so drawn out. And that's for other reasons, I think, that'll possibly be chatted a wee bit down the road in this episode. It's vital. We need a strong performance on Saturday against Notts Forest. And again, they're going to have nothing to lose coming to Old Trafford. No one's going to expect them to really do anything. But they've had a strong start to the season.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's just vital that get back on track, and players, you can get a win under the belt, and we've already got 3 more points after 2 games than we had last year. People seem to forget that. But that winning sometimes isn't just the whole thing, it's the whole picture that can seem to be a wee bit off. So hopefully, let's see what the boys think. But
hopefully, Dara, I'll jump to you. So if you were to make changes to the starting 11, and then obviously you can speak freely, but I'll start with this. What would you change in the starting 11 against the Spurs?
Well, it's the immediate change in the midfield anyway, because of the news of Mason Mount going to be injured now for the next 4 to 6 weeks, they're saying. So for me, I think it's a simple case of just bringing Ericsson in Mount's place and maybe even revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation rather than stick with the standard 4-3-3, because I would keep the back line as it was. Maybe only change I'd make there is Dallo for Wan-Bissaka, but yeah, at the end of the day, the two right backs can rotate for each other depending on the game, because tactically it'll all set up for the game. Just briefly to go back on the point of Nigel saying about pre-season, some of the games, yes, they were unnecessary, but at the end of the day, when you look at the statistic point of view, and I know not everyone's going to look at the stats point of view of a game, the game against Madrid, yes, was poor, but I actually found that in possession and build-up play, we were actually the better team against Dortmund. They just got lucky with us getting caught out at the back. Having said that, it's still not good enough all the same. But going back to the Notts Forest game again, depends tactically how Ten Hag wants to set up. Rashford needs to get back onto that left wing man. I like Garnacho. I want to see him do well. I still only see him as an impact sub right at this moment. Now, it's still early doors for him. He can still develop into that starting role. But right now, the way he makes his most impact is off the bench. So I would say Rashford on the left. Anthony, I like his work ethic. I like what he does for the team. Is he still deserving of right wing, or should we give Sancho another chance, even though we've seen again Sancho has been better off the bench again, like Garnacho, he's been better as the impact sub. But then it leaves the number 9 role. Highlands, after coming in, there's talk of him being involved in the game, at least against Forest. It's just a matter of Do you have him start, get 45, 50 minutes maybe, just to get the match fitness under his belt, just to see how he adapts to the Premier League as well? Or do we dare take the chance on Anthony Martial again?
Well, to take a chance on Martial. Martial played today in the Burnley game in the Carrington. I don't feel that maybe he won't. I guess that he won't be playing anyway in the weekend. We ended up losing 3-0 today behind closed door. That's what I heard anyway. That's what the media is relaying. But Dec, would you start Martial or would you change something else for the first
I
game?
would have sold Martial 2 seasons ago. Yeah,
He'd rather start Harry Maguire.
I think he's had enough chances, and the problem we have with getting players in is we've too many players there at the moment that Ten Hag doesn't want. There's players willing to sit on the bench and get a paycheck rather than further their chances of playing football. You know, there's a good 8 players there that could be gone, and we'd be able to get in players that Ten Hag wants. They're holding up wages, they're holding up places there. I mean, God, we had one player holding up his number because he wanted to run his contract down, you know. This never happened back in the day. And it's indicative of the way it's been run as a business at the moment. Any other business would have sacked the people at the top by now. And we're also waiting on this takeover. I mean, why is it dragging on? There's no rhyme or reason to it in my mind anyway. They've been given a good price. Log on back across the water, watch the funny football over there, and leave.
We all hope for that.
And that's what the whole stadium wants, the fan base wants. They want the club run by people that want to put money into it, not take money out from it.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
They've made enough off the dividends over the years. You know, get United back to where they were. I mean, we've all seen bad times, we've all seen good times, but we've never seen times where we're looking at our team and not identifying with them and saying, what in God's name is that fella doing wearing a United jersey? We shouldn't be saying that about anyone at our club. And unfortunately, it's too common at the moment. But hopefully, changes are coming.
Hopefully change is coming, and that's the picture we saw. And before that, Brett, I agree with you. Garnacho is a better impact player. Pelistri also, I guess he will be having his chance in during the season. I guess Ten Hag has plans for him. But to come back to what Dec was saying, we've all seen this picture being shared in social media where the employees of the shop are handing over a little bit of piece of paper that says sit in the first game after the game to protest against the owners, protest against the Glazers. We want Glazers out. And usually Suki would be having that. His head would be next to the players' entrance with this Glazers out, green and gold, as my jersey says. And hopefully there will be changes. And what do you guys think about what's happening with the shop handing over? Do you think it's just individual? Maybe that person is doing it. Maybe do you think it's like the employee thing who's driving this? What are your thoughts about this? And what are your thoughts mainly about the hopefully takeover soon to happen? Dara, I'll jump to you first and then come to Nigel.
I suppose the best way to, like, this is just my personal opinion, I suppose you see the photo being shared around. If anyone knows the megastore well enough, if they've gone over to Manchester, they've gone to the megastore, if you go over there enough, you kind of become familiar with where everything is laid out in terms of where everything is, in terms of, let's say, the retro jerseys be the ones nearest the tills, when you walk in the door, the news jerseys are straight in front of you, that kind of thing. I'm fairly familiar with the layout now at this point, just from having a gander around. No, I haven't bought anything, guys, before I give out to it. But honestly, I look at where that exact till is, and I'm familiar enough with the area now. It's just as if you're sliding down before the exit there. It's not somewhere where, sorry, I should rephrase. It is somewhere that you can literally just reach in over, put in a couple of flyers, take the photo, walk away, and make it look like that people are, or that the employees are giving out the flyers. It just doesn't look realistic to me. At the end of the day, we all want the places out. We all want the club to be sold to whoever or to whichever group uh, you wish the club to sell to. It's completely up to yourself. But at the end of the day, we all want the club to be gone. We all or to be sold. We all want the Glazers to go. At the end of the day, I'm very supportive of the 1958, but I don't feel this is an actual move that employees of the megastore will actually handing out these flyers. It just seems too unrealistic because at the end of the day, they're putting their own job at risk by uh, going against the Glazers who own the club, who therefore they're high up in the boss, basically. That's just my opinion on it anyway. Like at the end of the day, I'm all for the sit-in process. If I was going to the Forest game this weekend, I'd be sitting in the stadium for the hour. Well, at the end of the day, it's a full Old Trafford after 90 minutes of football. What more would you want than just sitting in the stadium for an hour to take it all in? That's my way of thinking anyway.
Exactly, and I would only the icing on the cake. What Aaron wrote in the chat is the heart has been pulled out of the club, and it's true. It's sad, but it's true. And I'll go to the senior side here, and Nigel, going to you, and you've witnessed those maybe even more glory days in when like the jersey you were wearing and the old days with Man United. And we'll speak about the jersey in a minute, but what would be your feelings about hopefully a future takeover? Hopefully October now. It's the reported thing, but what are your thoughts? Would you rather a full takeover by the Qatari or just a partial, having the Glazers staying? What would be your thought on this?
Oh, without a doubt, it has to be Glazers out. There can be no other version of that. And I think with Jim Ratcliffe, it's only slightly more of the same in the British version, because how can he potentially buy Manchester United when he was turned out, when he was outbid to buy Chelsea? Like, he claims to be a Man United fan and wanted to buy Chelsea, and his main interest is with a cycling team. And anyway, I don't really chat so he's definitely not an option. But like, just to touch on what you said there, the last sort of 48 hours, there's been an awful lot of, seems to be a bit more concrete evidence that this process is coming to a close, and that possibly the Qataris have won the bid. But what is strange to me is why the Glazers, they seem oblivious to the hate of all of us. From, like, there's not one person I'd say on the planet that wants the Glazers to remain. But how they can be so oblivious to that, to not make some type of statement or come out somewhere to say what their intentions are, one way or the other. Like, they have leveraged our club to strengthen their American football team, the Buccaneers, and like Tom Brady getting wages that, I don't know, telephone number level wages, and have left our club to fall so far behind our Premiership rivals, never mind what's happening in Europe. So we need to get this process closed, and just I never thought I would be so in favour of the Qatar, but I've been so favour of anyone, but just anyone to get the Glazers out, because it's bordering on criminal what they have done to our club. And I know, I read stuff that the government in the UK is even trying to create legislative law that will prevent any owners from buying a club based on the way they took on our club, without actually ever spending any of their own money. That's like us four here, right? We're going to buy Man United and off we go, and we don't spend any money. Like, it just doesn't calculate that they got away with this for nearly 30 something years, for as long as they're there. But no, and I think, again, I do agree a little what Dara said there. I don't think, no matter what the staff in the store might personally feel, for them to jeopardize their jobs, because, like, CCTV, like, they could pick it up in 2 seconds if anyone had, from the staff, had dropped this anti-Glazer propaganda stuff at the till. So, but no, it has to be Glazers out all the way, and I'm interested to see what Dak has to say. We might get taken off air, but anyway, that's another story.
That's another story. I mean, when the day it's Glazers out, we'd have to all wear the jersey like mine here, green and gold.
Oh, I
And
have mine. I'm ready to go.
speaking of that jersey, as we have hopefully an Irish audience, we had I think now almost 9 people were watching. Now it's dropped to 4 anyway, but there will be recording and there will be shorts of this. And I want to give you the opportunity, Nigel, to speak to us about the lovely business you're conducting with the jerseys. You're helped a lot of members from our group at Suki Red Devils. So opportunity here also to promote this Irish product, if I can call it, if you allow me. But on a separate note, I'm happy with the jersey I got. I got the jersey, the View Cam, the black one. I have this one. It's great. And I'll let you describe it and how people can reach out to you and reach out to your page so they can buy retro jerseys.
Okay, yeah, no, well, thanks. I wasn't expecting to talk about that, but no, basically, it's a replica jersey page. There's many on Facebook, but I was just trying to, particularly the way shirt prices have gone is just crazy. Like the shirt there that Dara is wearing, the current 22, 23, 24 shirt, like €90 for a fan fit shirt. It just doesn't calculate for the way people live their lives these days. So I got an opportunity to be able to import jerseys, and I created a page called Jersey Express Eire, and we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page named the same across both platforms, and specialising probably in Manchester United stuff because obviously of my love there, but we do have shirts from all across the world, current and retro, internationals and other sports. So yeah, if anyone was listening or tuning in, and feel free to please like the page and even reference back to this, and yeah, it's called Jersey Express Eire. So thanks very much.
I'll make sure to drop the link in the chat, and I'll go back to Captain Deck. I'm calling you Captain Deck because I love your jersey today. And you chose the name of this. I'll give you the last minute to close it. And any open thoughts? It's really open mic for you. Any open thoughts? And let's close it with you.
Yeah, I'm wearing the 68 replica jersey. I love it. One of my favourite jerseys. Came up with tricolour reds because obviously we're from Ireland and there's a huge Irish connection with Manchester United. Always have been. Airports, ferry terminals from all over Ireland on match day are flooded with fans heading over to follow United. And we've always had a strong link with players there. Some of the best United players have been Irish. I mean, there's too many to mention, but I've special affinity for Roy Keane, Dennis Irwin, Paul McGrath. You know, I thought they represented the club great. Frank Stapleton, you know. I mean, Ireland has a huge history with United and with the way United played. You know, that's why we want to get back to those kind of playing days. Being proud of our team, seeing the team put in exciting displays. The last 2 games have been brutal. They won the first one somehow. You know, they got found out in the second one. They really need to start putting in a shift and putting in a shift for the supporters who pay a lot of hard-earned money to get to each and every game. So, lads, whoever's listening, I hope you enjoyed it. Come back again and we'll see, can we build and build.
Yeah.
We'll keep building. Thank you, lads, and thank you for the people who joined to watch and who will listen also later to the recording. Appreciate your time, and hopefully we win this weekend against Forest. 6 points to the count, hopefully.
Up the Reds.
Yes. Up the Reds, and see you in the Blaze next time.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.